Welcome back to She Commerce, where bold brands, fierce women, and one sisterhood collide to explore the people, partnerships, and innovations shaping the future of commerce. I'm Christina.
And I'm Jackie. She Commerce is where we bring together the women and the allies who are building brands, transforming retail, and shaping the future of commerce. Every episode, we dive into the stories behind the strategies because we believe the most powerful business conversations happen when we connect leadership, innovation, and the people driving meaningful change. But before we jump into today's amazing conversation with two powerhouse women, can we just take a minute? Because today is it's kind of a special day for us.
It is indeed. When we first dreamed up She Commerce, it started as this itty bitty passion project between two friends over some Prosecco who simply believed our industry needed more authentic conversations, more real talk, less corporate BS, and a bigger spotlight on the amazing women and allies who are shaping the future of commerce. Honestly, we had no idea where it would go.
And today, we're celebrating a huge milestone. Frankly, I can't believe it because She Commerce is 8 months old and we have officially surpassed 50,000 podcast downloads across all of our channels. All of our channels.
It's really incredible. And our She Commerce community continues to grow. We've now welcomed more than 1,000 followers on LinkedIn, nearly 5,000 followers across our social channels, and new listeners are joining us every single week from across the globe. We're genuinely blown away by this.
We're also really so incredibly humbled because while Christina and I may be the voices behind the microphones, this community belongs to all of you. Every person who listens on your commute, shares an episode with a colleague, comments on one of our LinkedIn posts, introduces us to an amazing guest, or simply just cheers us on. You're helping us build something that is so much bigger than a podcast.
Exactly. It's becoming the community we hoped and dreamed it would be, a place where women and incredible allies who champion them can come together to share ideas, learn from one another, and obviously help shape the future of commerce, which is why we're here. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Thank you for believing in this crazy idea. Thank you for supporting our little passion project. And thank you for being part of the growing She Commerce.
And trust us, we're just getting started. We have some amazing guests, some incredibly exciting partnerships, a few surprises. Oh boy, do we have some surprises, and a lot more bold conversations. Bold people, I tell you, bold conversations coming your way over the next few months. So stay connected with us. Send us your ideas. Tell us who you'd love to hear on our show. Share your feedback. This community is growing because all of you and us genuinely want to build it together.
Yes. And last thing, before we get into it, if you're enjoying She Commerce, there are two incredibly simple ways you can help us continue to grow. First is by heading over to our She Commerce LinkedIn page, click follow, and don't forget to ring that little bell in the upper right-hand corner so you'll never miss an episode, event, or update.
And wherever you're listening today, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform, please hit follow. And if you enjoy what you're hearing, leave us a little review. Our favorite number, 5. Number 5. So, feel free to hit that 5-star. It really does make a huge difference in helping new listeners discover our show.
All right. So enough celebrating, because today's conversation is exactly why we started She Commerce in the first place. We're joined by two incredible women who are helping shape the future of commerce through leadership, innovation, and one remarkable growth partnership. So let's get into it.
Absolutely. Joining us today are two fabulous leaders. First, we're thrilled to welcome Mihira Rami, Vice President of Marketing at Milo's Tea Company. Mihira has spent more than 15 years building iconic consumer brands across Procter& Gamble, Newell Brands, Dairy Farmers of America, Glambia, and now Milo's. She has helped scale businesses from $30 million to more than $500 million by combining disciplined brand building with thoughtful storytelling and omni-channel strategy. Welcome, Mihira.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to talk to you guys today.
And joining her is Natalie Ong, Head of Operations for the Dollar General Media Network. Natalie has helped build one of the retail's fastest growing media networks, bringing together brands, shoppers, merchandising, and data to create measurable business growth. Her work sits at the center of one of the most exciting transformations happening in commerce today, and we're thrilled to have her with us. Natalie, welcome to SheCommerce.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Really excited to be here today.
We're so excited to have you both. Let's just jump right in. So, Milo's and Dollar General have both had such incredible origin stories rooted in the South. How have those beginnings shaped how you approach growth today?
I love a good origin story, so I'll tell you a little bit about ours. Our origin story really comes down to just organic popularity of a delicious product that people couldn't get enough of, still can't. There really is a Milo. His name was Milo Carlton. He came home after serving in World War II. The next week, he married his sweetheart, Bee, and together they opened a small burger restaurant in Birmingham, Alabama. They served burgers, fries, pies, and of course, freshly brewed sweet tea. And customers just started coming in for the tea. And so that insight really reshaped our business into what it is today. Years later, by the 1980s, his family started bottling that same tea for grocery stores. And today we're sold in 62,000 retail locations in all 50 states. We own roughly half of the ready-to-drink tea category in America, and our flagship Famous Sweet Tea is the top-selling liquid tea in the country. And so, through all of that change and growth, what's really remained constant is Milo's founding philosophy, which is listen to our customers, use really high quality natural ingredients, and never sacrifice on taste. And so we've never used artificial preservatives, colors, or dyes. And we like to say we were clean before clean was cool, and we still are today. And our growth really reflects that consistency. So, 10 years ago, we sold 6.4 million cases annually. And just last year, that was 61 million. So that's a 20 plus percent CAGR, and we like to call ourselves an 8-year-old startup because even as a third generation family and women-owned company led by our CEO Trisha Walwork, we're still scaling like a startup. So that origin story is a thread that's really important to us to be authentic and true to.
Wow, that is an amazing origin story. Right, Natalie, beat that one.
Yes, super cool. We are also in startup mode at a company that's almost 90 years old over here at Dollar General. So since Dollar General was founded almost 90 years ago, we have been very, very much focused on serving the customer by making shopping simple and affordable. A bit about our origin story. We were founded by J.L. Turner, an illiterate Tennessee farmer, and he and his family essentially saw that a bunch of department stores across Tennessee had big dollar day sales. And their rationale was that Dollar General could keep the shopping experience simple and affordable by opening a store that only has one price point of $1. Since then, we've really evolved from being a dollar store to the largest and fastest growing retailer in the US. So we have 21,000 stores in the US today, and most Americans live within 5 miles or less from a Dollar General. So for many of our customers, Dollar General is the closest, the most convenient, sometimes the only place nearby for our customers to get their daily essentials. And so we've really taken a similar approach at Dollar General Media Network and how we're thinking about growth on the retail media network side. We're always thinking, how are we delivering value? How are we making life easier for customers and our brands? And when we look at what we're prioritizing, as we are also in startup mode growing the business, we're always asking ourselves, how are we helping brands connect to the customer in relevant and meaningful ways? And then how are we also ensuring that the customers are discovering products, discovering promotions in a way that's truly additive to their shopping experience as opposed to disruptive? So that's a little bit about our origin story.
I love a good origin story. Mihira, I do have a follow-up for you though. What values have remained non-negotiable as you've scaled?
I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to that philosophy of really focusing on our customers, being true to who we are. As we broaden our consumer base, our availability, those things will be really important to us. I will also say that we have a really unique, I know everyone says this, people first culture, but now that I'm on the inside, I've been here a year, it's absolutely true. And a lot of that culture is focused on what we call the HAT values, so hungry, agile, and together. And I think that's really resonant with some of our partners, especially Dollar General, the way we kind of partner to get after opportunities in a way that's mutually beneficial.
And Natalie, thank you, Mihira. And Natalie, how do those values continue to show up with the customer experience at Dollar General today?
Yeah, I think we're focused on being customer centric, and so relevancy and product discovery, greater convenience for the customer along their customer journey continues to be tentpoles for us here at Dollar General. And you can see that, right, in the way that we made a lot of investment in rolling out DG delivery for even greater convenience for our customers, and then how we're also thinking about our site and app experience. We've built out a variety of formats and ways for our brands to share deals, share more of their brand story, depending on how a customer is engaging across their site and how they're planning their shopping journey. So being really rooted in the customer continues to be a huge emphasis for us here at the Media Network.
All righty, thank
That's
you.
great. Now a question for Mihira. You mentioned the just incredible growth that you've had at Milo's, expanding into more than 55,000 locations, approaching $1 billion in retail sales. That's amazing. But looking back, what do you think has been the biggest inflection point in that journey?
That's a good question, and I haven't been around for the whole journey, and I'm sure some seasoned vets could tell stories. But I would say one of the major inflection points has been retailer distribution on a national scale. And when I think about, when we first started selling in grocery, the family leveraged the dairy DSD network, really kind of putting the tea in what was then milk jugs, putting it on DSD trucks and getting it to store. That was to fit dairy crates, right? And now that jug is becoming one of the ways that consumers recognize us at shelf. But with these expanded retail partnerships, we've really been able to expand our reach, which is helping us take a brand that is a favorite among many in a certain part of the US, right? And export that across the country. And as we think about just the growing popularity of the South in pop culture, the importance of, like I said, our natural ingredients, a clean label, and being able to leverage omni-channel and omni-commerce, like the delivery networks and retail partners platforms, we're really able to broaden our access based on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it sounds like a bit of a balance between the storytelling as well as that commercial rigor accelerating at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Our story is really unique, and I think there's a lot more of it we could tell, but the commercial kind of fundamentals and partnerships are a big part of how we got here and how we plan to continue to grow.
I love that. So, listening to both of you so far, what has resonated and what has been repeated is both of you have such a strong focus in terms of your ethos, and that ethos is customer first, it's customer centric. It is at the heart of everything you do. So, given that you're such a natural fit, your partnership is so organically natural. Um, how have media and merchandising worked together to unlock growth for you?
Yeah, I mean, I can start, and Natalie, feel free to pile on. I mean, I think this has been a perfect example of what we call omni-channel, right? A lot of times with retail media networks and in the CPG industry, when we say omni-channel, we really mean online. But I think we've really been able to um, use the success we've had with some of our online programming to help get proof points, and build up cases from a merchandising perspective to expand the assortment, to test out um, new to Dollar General products that will fit with their consumer base and shopper base. And that partnership is kind of like a flywheel that keeps on turning. And even as you know, as our partner like looks to expand their platforms and things like that, we absolutely see a way for us to continue to reach across that path to purchase, right? And make sure that we're really participating not just in the tea moment, but all of the moments across the store and the routine, to make sure that we're showing up where customers look for us.
Mihira, I totally agree. You know, the partnership between Dollar General and Milo's has been so natural with both of us, you know, having these strong Southern roots, commitment to accessibility and value. You know, I saw that we were founded in 1939 in Kentucky and you guys in 1946 in Alabama. So we're both these, you know, starting out as family businesses in the South, emerging after the Great Depression, really focus on, you know, keeping things simple, keeping things sweet, like no shortcuts. And I think that really shows up in how we partner together across our two businesses. You know, we have an existing shared customer base, and we, you know, through our partnership we realized we had an ability to expand that customer base at Dollar General. So partnering to ensure that our media strategy was there to support Milo's and their joint business objectives. So through our campaigns, you know, we were able to introduce Milo's to Dollar General shoppers during key seasonal moments and help drive discovery amongst these customers who may not have been exposed to the brand before. And we looked at moments that, you know, that mattered both to Milo's customers as well as to the DG shopper, right? So like we looked at summer grilling, Easter, tailgating, holiday, these great tentpole moments for us to partner together and leveraging the retail media network capabilities to bring awareness of Milo's products available at DG, we were able to reach these high intent shoppers with promotions, with coupons, with availability that could drive trial as well as repeat purchase. And really what we found was that, you know, the customer demand was there. The customer demand was exceedingly clear with the measurements and the metrics that we were able to provide. So that really reinforced the opportunity for broader distribution, deeper collaboration between our two brands and companies.
I love
Sounds like
this.
it was
This is
meant to
such
be.
a, yeah, it's such a meeting of minds. It's such a
Mhm.
compatibility, and it's so customer focused. It's an old fashioned rule, but it stood the test of time. Always put your customer
Mhm.
first.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
It always. Well, you kind of just touched on this, Natalie. So maybe from Mihira, your perspective, how did that early success of your Dollar General Media Network campaigns help to validate the customer demand and ultimately influence that expanded distribution within Dollar General?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and look, like we're relatively new to marketing activation in a sustained way, right? So the partnership's been in place for some time, but I think we've been able to kind of invest and use the learnings together. So I'll give you an example. In 2025, we ran some programming on a new item, and we saw like the highest incremental return we'd seen, and that really gave the buyer confidence on adding something new to the set, right? And so as a result, we have been able to secure listings on additional products. So we're now in our flavored lemonades at Dollar General as well. And not only do we get the listing, we kind of have a playbook now, right, to run together to get that ability, that discoverability, and make sure we're getting the trial to get the turns to continue that virtuous cycle. So that's just one example, I think, of how on our end, our sales or account ownership and our shopper marketing are like hand in hand, and then our account and the merchandising team, our omni team, and the DGMN team are very close. It kind of feels like a seamless ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, what I keep hearing is this focus on value and that value exchange being there for both of you. And it sounds like you've been very deliberate about that growth from, where you're testing, how you're measuring, and then validating before you scale and expand, which is very smart.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a approach and a mentality across our business of testing and then kind of building from there and scaling out.
Proof points,
whether that's traffic or finding the proof points exactly, or item based. And I think with Dollar General, that's just kind of showing up in us diversifying as they expand in this priority area, diversifying our tactics and our investment portfolio with them as well.
Amazing.
That makes so much sense. So I guess, Natalie, from a Dollar General Media Network perspective, what was the opportunity that you saw with a brand like Milo's?
Yeah, I mean, beyond some of those shared values that our companies have, we saw a brand with such a compelling growth story, such strong consumer loyalty, and products that really fit naturally into both everyday as well as tentpole seasonal moments that our customers care about. So, whether that be family meals, whether that be gathering together over the summer, whether that be those tailgating occasions. And with Dollar General really being America's neighborhood store, with our massive retail footprint, with our reach, with our customer base across rural, small town America, suburban America, we just realized that there was this huge opportunity for us to introduce Milo's to more Dollar General customers, while making sure existing customers knew that it was easily within reach, less than 5 miles away. So we know that on the GMN side, we're really focused on our first party data capabilities to make sure that we are being precise with our targeting across our Dollar General customers based on what we know about them, and then being able to provide measurable results to partners like Mihira as well as to our merchant teams. And so there was just this great opportunity for us to leverage our first party data targeting, reaching buyers who we knew were already excited about Milo's products, as well as maybe those who had lapsed and ones that could be interested in that category, and then also making sure that, to Mihira's point earlier, that we were providing those results, right? What do those incremental results look like? Are we driving those incremental sales? Are we also increasing new to brand buyers for the team? And that was where we really found a great way to continue to lean in, and to the point earlier, getting those proof points and then thinking about how do we make it scale, how do we make it repeatable.
That makes so much sense.
I love so many things about this story. The partnership is so strong, but I also love that these results didn't just drive campaign performance, that they seem to have created a really powerful signal of that customer demand that then strengthened the partnership, and that led to unlocking broader distribution. So we've obviously talked a lot about that partnership and the growth strategy and the power of connecting media and merchandising. But behind every great growth story are the people that are leading it, such as the two of you. And that's such an important part of what we explore here at She Commerce. So let's expand and spend a few minutes talking about your leadership journeys.
Absolutely. And here's one for you, Natalie. How is DGMN helping bridge the gap between marketing and merchandising using data and insights to inform not just media strategy, but real decisions like distribution and shelf expansion?
I mean, retail media networks shouldn't exist in a silo, right? That's why we have retail in our names. We have these great insights. We have data that can really drive business performance and an ability to tie these insights back to specific different customer segments, like how we know their purchase behavior, how they know they interact with Dollar General as a whole. So at DGMN, we provide brands with the ability to reach Dollar General customers across that purchasing funnel. But just as importantly, we provide the measurement and the accountability to understand what's driving results. And when you can see how media influences sales, customer acquisition, shopping behavior, these insights become valuable beyond just the marketing team. So they really help identify with brands like Milo's, right? Where is the customer demand growing, or where is there opportunity across the category, across the brand, across specific SKUs for us to invest further that can help these brands unlock their shared growth objectives with Dollar General. And so our partnership has really been a great example of that. Retail media helped drive discovery and trial, but it also generated insights, right, to validate customer interest through real actual sales results. So I think that's a really big part on how we are not just existing in a silo. We're not just a marketing investment. We're tied to the broader objectives and what we're trying to do with growing the brand together.
And I would say, like, as a relatively smaller company, right, versus some of the big players that we might compete with, that approach really lets us have kind of like an outsized relationship and an outsized impact, because we're able to partner with a customer where there not only is like shopper overlap, but also that strategic fit and that kind of mindset of connecting the dots to broader business outcomes, rather than just kind of treating it like marketing over here and business over there.
Yeah, and to your point, it kind of levels the playing field a bit.
Yeah, it allows us to have like a bigger impact, I think, than otherwise we'd be able to, and it kind of gives us a way to reach a specific consumer that otherwise is challenging to reach, like some of those rural communities and smaller towns that frankly like fall through the gaps of DMAs, right? And that type of broader target.
Exactly.
I love that. Both of you have this incredible mindset and this incredible, you're 80 and 90 years old respectively, and yet you're so day one. And
you both
still,
look fabulous for your age.
Right? You guys.
Amazing.
As opposed to popping the Prosecco, we should have brought some Milo's teas for us to celebrate the amazing
we should. Yes.
I wish I looked that good at 90, you know what I'm saying?
Same girl.
I'd like to now ask you about your own growth, in terms of both of you have helped to scale organizations during periods of tremendous growth. So, looking back on your careers, how would you say that your leadership evolved, and how has being a woman especially shaped the leader you've become? Was there a mentor or a sponsor who helped change your trajectory? And I'm going to start that question with you, Mihira.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate to have a lot of positive female leaders in my life, my career. Also was raised by like the OG working mom, so might be in my DNA a little bit. But I would say, it takes time to come into your own way of leading. And for me, it's really grounded in just curiosity and empathy for other people. So listening and trying to bring a mindset of meeting people where they are. And there's a little bit also in these kind of scaling environments of being self-aware and like realizing when you need to scale yourself up or surround yourself with the right resources to achieve, whatever it is that you're looking to achieve.
I really love that statement, where you need to give yourself time to come into your own. I think that is so incredibly important, where you're learning how to be you as a leader, as opposed to following in the footsteps and being a carbon copy of someone else. I really like that. That's smart material.
Or what you think leadership should look like, the classic example of it versus, kind of working on your own style and what feels right and authentic to you.
Yeah, and I think my experience has been trying things on is how you figure it out, right? And being okay, being like, "Yeah, that didn't work for me. That doesn't feel like me." The more you do that, the more you know what your filter is,
Yeah.
and you can tell when you show up authentically.
Yeah,
And
that's
Natalie,
great.
how has that worked for you at within your career? Not only at DGMN, but within your career.
Yeah, I've also been really fortunate to have several mentors and several, women who have really coached me along the way. I actually started out my career on the trading floor on Wall Street, and I was, at one point like the only woman on my team. And I remember when I started out my career, I had a coworker who told me, if I was interviewing a man and a woman candidate and they were of equal caliber, I would just hire the man because they would fit better into our culture. And that stuck with me, as a 21-year-old for a long time. And I think it's really shaped how I think about leadership. So, when I first became a leader, I, perhaps like many leaders, was very focused on like technical and execution based, right? Grounded in rigor, grounded in routines. What's the right kind of goal setting cadences? How do we think about our KPIs? Which I think is an incredibly, incredibly important part of leadership. But as I've grown as a leader, and thinking back about my experience being, like the only woman on a team, I'm always thinking about, how do we ensure that we have the right kind of culture that prioritizes diverse perspectives, that prioritizes people raising their hands and asking a question that might be different from what everyone else is thinking, and how do we really encourage a cross pollination of ideas? I've actually found that some of my smartest teammates have had very radically different experiences that allows them to think outside of the box and not be afraid to raise their hand and say something that others might think are stupid. So I think I'm really anchoring on, how do I make sure that I establish that culture from day one, that I empower people to feel, that they feel empowered to contribute, that they feel empowered to speak up, and that they also realize that as a leader, I really care, much more about effort over outcomes. I think that if you're asking the right questions, if you're partnering cross functionally, if you're thinking through the strategy, and the project does not go where you thought it might, that's still far more valuable than if you didn't put any effort in and you just got lucky and you have a great win on your hands. So that's really shaped how I've grown as a leader.
I love that.
Oh,
And how would
great.
you intentionally pay it forward today?
I mean, I try and do the same things that some of my women, female leaders and female mentors have really instilled in me. They have told me from day one, right? Like, you need to make sure that you are raising your hand, that you're more visible, that you are willing to advocate for yourself. And I've had leaders who have also thrown me into situations that were definitely terrifying, and that was it, I don't know if I was truly ready for, but they were there to support me through it. And so when I have my team, I try and do the same thing. I try to advocate for them, but also coach them on how to advocate for themselves, and then also give them challenges that, maybe they're 80% there, but we all know it's going to be a great experience, all around.
Mhm.
I love
Absolutely.
that you throw them in. Yeah, it's so important.
Mhm.
Scare the
And
bejesus out of you people. That's the way you grow,
Right.
right?
Do it scared.
yeah, yes. How about you, Mihira? What's that one leadership lesson that you learned early in your career that you still rely on today? And if you have any advice that you would give to the next generation of women that are building brands?
Oh, that's a good question. One one lesson that's just always stuck to me, and I've probably learned it a couple different ways, is it's okay to say when you don't know the answer. I think early on, as I was in management consulting, and then a junior marketer in a big organization full of ways of doing things and really smart people, and felt this pressure to always know the answer, and sometimes to kind of put that energy out into my team, right? And I've learned along the way, it's okay to say you don't know. I got to think about that. I can find out, and have a little bit of like humility, and make a little space for being thoughtful and being wrong.
Hmm. It's important. I think women probably feel that pressure a little more than men, potentially.
Yeah.
But it is a good reminder. And it does make you human, right? And it makes you more approachable by just saying, actually, I don't know that, or I need to figure that out.
Completely. I mean, it took me a while to learn to say no because Mihira, exactly like you, when I was growing up I say growing up at Microsoft, I needed to know all the things, and you just can't. And your clients will ask you questions about stuff about technologies that you haven't even read yet because the portfolio is so vast. I learned early that you just cannot know everything about everything, and saying no, the first no, I'm sorry, I don't know, was terrifying. But getting,
Yeah.
getting comfortable with being with your getting comfortable with not knowing and being humble, that takes time, and
Mhm.
repetition. Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
So Natalie, you have helped DGMN from the ground up. Looking ahead, what is it that excites you most? Not only about the future of retail media, because Lord knows we hear about the future of retail media forecasts every other minute, but about the
Mhm.
opportunities that it creates for the next generation of women leading commerce.
I actually, what you guys were speaking about saying you don't know, like really, really resonates with me. I think it's one of the most terrifying, but also exciting parts about being in commerce media and being a leader in commerce media. To your point where you can't know everything, I feel like commerce media sits at the intersection of so many different areas that you can't be an expert of it all, right? You need to know retail, you need to know merchandising, you need to know marketing, you need to know media, you need to know ad tech, you need to know about like customer data and loyalty. Like
Yeah.
nobody's an expert on all of those things. Find me someone who can be an expert on all of those, and I will go ask them to be my mentor. So when I think about the next generation of women leading commerce, I think about the opportunities for our industry. I actually think that sitting at the intersection of all of these different areas is exciting for future leaders because there's no clear playbook of what you need to do when you're growing a retail media from scratch, right? When we were launching Dollar General's media network, we knew we couldn't just take the playbook of another retailer and replicate it because we're so unique. And so there's no clear playbook. There are no right answers, but there's so much space to innovate and to move quickly, and to leverage technology in a retailer. So I think for the space, there's just so much continued opportunity, but for leaders as well, you don't have to know it all. But what you need to do is you need to be able to, build the right team with complementary skill sets, right? You need to know how to ask the right questions. You need to create those mental models in your head to drive decision making in an area that's shifting so quickly. And I think that's a really exciting opportunity for many people to continue to refine their leadership skills and grow.
Mhm. Super exciting. And how about you, Mahira? If there's maybe a slightly different question to ask, if there was one thing about our industry to make it easier for women to grow into those leadership roles that are going to be so influential in the next couple of years to define what that future looks like, what would that change be in your mind?
Oh, you're sucking me. Um, I don't know if it's all that different in general versus like what would help us, set up the next generation of women to be able to lead more effectively. I think it's some of what we've talked about, right? Like that early exposure to opportunities and new ways of thinking, creating those environments of like experimentation and support to fail and fail forward. And then having space to step into some of those opportunities you're not ready for. So that might not be the best answer, but I think it's
Yeah.
not all that unique. It's just a different kind of like evolution or a different context.
Yeah, no, I Agree. And I think it's very complimentary to what Natalie was talking about, just that this is a time like never before for you to be able to try new things, try on new hats, fail and learn from that failure and grow with that as well. And just reframe that whole, risk reward maybe equation a little bit in what that means for you and for leadership and for growth in general.
Okay, now we have quizzed you on leadership, career, merchandising, retail at media networks, Milo's, Dollar General, history, the whole kit and caboodle. So now we're going to go into She-Commerce's lightning round. And I'm going to hand the mic over to Christina to start off with the first questions, Christina.
All right, so we'll start with Natalie and then go to Mihira. What are you currently drinking that fills your cup, whether that's literally or figuratively?
Since I lived in Japan as a child, I have been obsessed with matcha, and I find that in the afternoon when I am dragging and I need a lot of caffeine, but I'm not quite ready to do a cold brew. That definitely fills my cup.
Fabulous.
That was my answer, to be honest.
Was it?
It is, yeah. It's time for a matcha. It's like 3
We
o'clock.
are very much in sync.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of knew what you were going to say, but.
No. I would say like my morning beverage before any caffeine is water with a scoop of creatine and a scoop of electrolytes. Good for the brain and brain health, hydration. So very much gets me started for the day.
Ooh,
That is
I like that. I'll have to
so
try it.
healthy.
Very healthy. I'm on the matcha train though with you, Natalie. So.
Awesome.
All right, so I'm going to start with you with this one, Mihira. What is one leadership mantra that has always stuck with you?
I would say I'm here to serve you is a mantra that's never failed me.
And Natalie, what about you?
Mine's perhaps a little cliche, but I think as women in the workplace, it's super important. And it's, don't be the person to tell yourself no. Ask and let someone else do that. And so I tell it to myself, I tell it to my peers, I tell that to my team. But then obviously, then I'm the one that has to say no in very difficult circumstances.
Comes back to bite you
Love
a little
it.
bit, but that's it. All right, Natalie, what's one thing you wish people asked you more often, not about your job, but about you personally?
I think for me, I think I would appreciate if people asked what it was like being a third culture kid. So I was born in Singapore. I moved around a lot. I was always the new kid at school. And I think for folks who have moved around and, been in those international schools, like I always wish people would ask what that experience was like. But, it's all right.
Well,
Natalie,
we will.
the next time I'm in the States, we're getting together because third culture kid right here.
Yes. Okay. I'll message you later.
Absolutely.
How about you, Mihira?
Mine would be, did you remember to eat lunch? Like, I feel like the days go by and I am very well intentioned about taking the breaks during the day in this remote work culture. It is a blessing, but also one of the things that's hard for me.
I did not eat lunch today. And yeah.
My next meeting might be able to tell.
Amazing. All right. And final round for the lightning, final question for the lightning round is, what is your go-to hype song before a big presentation or important meeting? And I'm going to start with you, Mihira.
Girl on Fire.
This girl is on fire. That one?
That's the one.
Oh, I like it. Oh, that is a great hype song. What about you, Natalie?
I think this one might be a little bit embarrassing. We're either of you at Shop Talk, maybe say 2023.
No, I wasn't
Okay.
there.
So the Ludacris did the concert,
Yes.
and let's just
Yes.
say, as someone who did not grow up in America, I was like, why is everyone getting so excited? And I attended the concert, and I was like, I listened to Ludacris for maybe months after, and so mine would be Get Back.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that. Two very different sounds.
That's
Two
what's
very
yours.
different. Mine. Mine changes all the time. So if I'm really hyped up about something and I want to calm down before I go on stage or before I'm presenting, please don't mock. No, actually, you can mock me. It's fine. It's Sweet Home Alabama. Always. In fact, I have zero connections to Alabama. Just FYI, zero. But I even played Sweet Home Alabama as the song. My brother is a guitarist. He played that as my song walking up the aisle because, I mean, you can't get more hype song for presentation than your wedding, right?
That was
And he's
unexpected.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, you're not from Alabama. You've not even been to Alabama. I was like, but I love the song. And you love me because I'm your favorite sister. He goes, you're not really. But okay.
I get that. It's a song with a feeling attached to it. That's the whole point,
Oh,
right?
totally. Yeah, totally. I just love that. I love that. Alrighty. Now, before we wrap up, one of the things that we always do is we love ending every episode with something that's kind of become our war cry, if you will. At She-Commerce, we believe that success is even more meaningful when we bring people along with us. And with every episode, we're building a growing community of women leaders and allies committed to opening doors, sharing knowledge, supporting and amplifying one another, and creating more opportunities for the next generation. So we would love to ask each of you, Mihira and Natalie, will you join us in taking the She-Commerce Pledge to continue to pay it forward, amplifying women's voices, championing allies, and helping to shape a stronger, more inclusive future for commerce?
Heck yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Sign me up.
that is wonderful. Thank you for being part of our global community.
Today's conversation reminds us that modern growth isn't just about scale. It's about staying true to your purpose and building meaningful partnerships, investing in innovation, and most importantly, investing in people. Mihira and Natalie, thank you both for sharing your leadership journeys, your partnership story, and your vision for the future of commerce. And we thank everyone listening for joining us for another episode of She Commerce. Until next time.
Bold brands, fierce women, one sisterhood.